Hello, my name is Matthew Bellisario. I'm excited to have here a special guest who is the owner of Jojo Records, also a wonderful guitar player. And his name is Simon Belelty. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I'm
Yeah,
terrible at
definitely.
mispronouncing people's names on this channel. Thank you, first of all, for coming on. But you started this record label. It's a very new record label. You just started it in 2020. And I guess it's kind of been something you've been interested in doing for quite a while,
Yeah, I started in my head much before,
much
but
before. But you were born in Jerusalem, I understand, and your dad was a drummer, a jazz drummer,
percussionist. Yeah,
percussionist, and apparently he was into vinyl records and jazz records and everything. So I guess you heard a
we
lot of
have
this as a
we
kid.
had a lot of vinyl at home. It was my dad, but it was also my aunt, and we had real collection of records that even today, after so much time, I'm impressed for those records that I couldn't find all of them in streaming or in another way. It's a very specific thing that I don't know how we get them. And after that, in growing up, I complete it and buy records. I always love records. Till today, I mean, I'm fascinated when I have a vinyl in my hand. I feel some energy that you don't have with CDs and not with streaming, even if the quality is better. There is something with the material, with the record in your hand that give me a different vibe. Let's say.
Absolutely, yeah. It kind of puts you in a different, puts you in a focused listening mood. You know, when you take it out and put the record on and
Just the,
everything.
the, the fact that you should take a second, put it, have this small attention. It's a small ceremony before you hit the music. And I think it's important, those small moments before things happen, give a frame to what you are doing. So for me, this small moment is important to take a moment and get into the music. You know?
So how did you? So tell us a little bit about growing up. Now, some people would probably think that Israel wouldn't be a place that someone would encounter a lot of jazz.
Israel today it's a place that there is a lot of jazz, and I cannot really explain that. But when I was child, it wasn't yesterday, let's say, there was some jazz in Jerusalem, but very people from Russia that was playing and some local, but it wasn't so present. And then some teachers start to come back from Berkeley and bring it to Jerusalem. And in my neighborhood, there was no jazz. I mean, the music for me, the jazz, but I don't like to say jazz because it wasn't just jazz. It was a lot of Latin music. My father always bring Latin music. We grew up in the Latin vibe also very deeply. Blues. I mean, I started to play guitar. I mean, I dreamed to play like B.B. King, and I wrote the guitar like in 55 like B.B. King. I mean, until today, I'm very attached to this sound of blues. And so it's not just the jazz. The jazz, when that happened, it was so surprising and challenging. So it take me in, but it's just music in general. And for me, music it was the way to go to the future. In every day, I said to myself, one day I will take my guitar and I will leave this place. And the guitar give it the chance to travel and to go forward. Today, when I'm in the music, I'm looking for taste and sound that I lost from that period. So it's same way, but in reverse. For me, Jojo Record, it's first. I like to bring the musicians that I like together and all that, but it's some sound that I always look for, always think that I find, and I'm closer, but I go and I need to do more, and I look that sound. If that sound is really related to the house and to the vibe in my house, in the way that we grow up in that music. And I try always to find it and look at it in the way, in the project that I produce. In project that I'm playing or concert, or try to get some sound that, for me, I know what I'm looking for, but when I'm sharing it with people, it brings them something else, but it's always work. So this way to look for something that you lost somewhere is the motivation for me to play and continue to play and continue to look for that things that maybe disappear, but it didn't disappear because it's inside.
So before we get into the record label, tell us a little bit about how being, first of all, you've been a musician for many years, a guitar player.
Still, yeah.
Tell us a little bit, and still with this wonderful record here. But how did that help you in moving forward with establishing your own jazz label from a musician's standpoint?
There's a lot of years that I was just a guitar player that make his life from guitar and playing, and I left Israel to Germany to a tour, and I never go back because I stay in Europe, and then I go to Geneva, and I make a few projects there, and produce some records that's already not on my name, but one was produced for Sony Music, and another, it's not a jazz record, but another record with a great singer from Geneva, and Nolde Rappaport. And from there, I moved to France to a period, and after to England, always because of the music. The label, it's come much later. And it's come after some maturity that you cannot play all the music that you hear, but there's so amazing things to be done. Things that I know that they are in my imagination. And if I will not put those people together, this record will never exist. And I'm glad to have that opportunity to be able to realize those ideas and those sounds and this energy that I have, and I try to have some similarity between all the records, even if it's not the same musician. And I don't have a problem to use the same musician. I had the great pleasure to have Santi Debriano on bass on a lot of my projects, and Billy Hart, that is one of the amazing drummers that all my life, like a child, I have him on my record. So I use them as much as possible with different leader. We have it with Mamiko that you know it, but today there's a single that come out, and in 26th of this month will be the release of Bill O'Connell.
I saw that.
Yeah, Bill O'Connell. This is a piano player. It's a so amazing piano player that done so many things. Play with Sonny Rollins, with Mongo Santa Maria. I'm very close to Mongo Santa Maria. It's the Latin, like I told you. I grew up on that sound, and many other things. And he knows Santi, and he know Jibali, Billy Hart, and so it was natural to put that together. To make his trio with those musicians. He played with them a lot, but he never make a trio record. Just three of them together, and it worked immediately like they rehearsed all the life, because it's already there. I just help it to happen,
Right.
Sometimes you don't need to do a lot. It's there. You just need to
nurture it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now you've got, I think this will be your 8th release on the label. I think that's right.
Yeah, I think it will be the 8th. There's a lot of records that are already records, not mixed yet, or things that will be mixed. So I'm a little confused. I try to make a list about all the projects. There's a lot of projects in the pipeline, and great stuff with great musicians. I don't know if you know George Garzon. Amazing. No. See, the fact that you say no, it's an accident. George Garzon is one of the great tenor player. I mean, and I mean, it's a lot of surprise, a lot of great musician on that session. I will mix it, I hope, end of this month, and try to release it as soon as I can. I have a great name. I will leave you with a surprise to see who was the set up on this record, but it's just a lot of great star, and it was amazing recording. And I try, when I'm in New York at least, to record in Van Gelder studio. So, Mamiko, I record in Sound on Sound. Sound on Sound, it's a great studio also. But Amos Hoffman was recording it, and it's wrong unfortunately on the vinyl. It was recording in Van Gelder.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Rudy Van Gelder studio.
Well, I'm going to go through and talk about each album as we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's.
So this is it's a record that all the sound of all the records that we know come from there, and a lot of part of the sound is the room.
Yeah, right.
And so the room will make you familiar with the sound already before we even mix it. So I recorded that, and I mixed always in the same with Andreas Meyer. That is one of the greatest sound engineer ever.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I'm trying to get him on. He says maybe December he'll come on the channel.
It's beautiful. It's just phenomenal to watch.
Let's talk about this album. Was this the first one on your label that you did?
On the label, you don't have the first one. I will talk a little bit about.
Was that Asaf?
No, it's not. I will show you.
Okay.
Is that record?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's on my list. Yeah, the Kirk Lightsey. Yeah.
Kirk Lightsey solo.
So that's the first one.
This is the first one. This was, for me, it was, I know Kirk for 27 years, and I have a lot of opportunity to play with him in a lot of situations. But much before I play with him, I saw him when I was a child with Dexter Gordon in the TV in Israel. In Israel, when I was a child, it was 20 minutes of jazz every 2 weeks. Oh. It was just one TV channel, and it's better not to miss those 20 minutes. But in these 20 minutes, they bring great stuff. And this was the first time that I saw Kirk Lightsey. I be 13. And I said to myself, I will know and play with this guy. And it was something that I have in mind all the time, and it happens much later, but it happened. So it's a musician that is, for me, it's one of the most great piano player ever. And there's a solo record, it's in 84, that called Lightsey Live. And Lightsey Live, it's a concert of Kirk Lightsey piano solo. And it's and I make that record something to honor the other record
I got
from
you.
before. This is was the reason that I asked Kirk to play me a solo record. And there's a few other projects with him that come. He will be 88 in February, and he's still playing. And
still unbelievable. Wow.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Yeah.
And then that was like a dream of yours that came true for the first record.
Yeah. So it was, for me, it was bring me luck to open the record label with that solo record.
And then what was the next one? The second label or the second record was that?
Second one, it was Asaf Yuria.
Okay, which I need to get that one too.
Yeah.
And so how did you discover him? Because I've never heard of him either.
Yeah, but he will be very known, I believe so. And I mean, I knew him. I knew who is in Israel. I just met him once or twice. He was playing with my brother more. My brother is a percussionist, and I was talking about him after. And but I went to Fat Cat in New York, the club, just to listen to some music. And I was sitting, and I didn't even realize who is on the stage. And they start playing, and he started to blow. And I said, "What is this sound?" And I just said, "I know that guy. Asaf Furia. And I just heard him on live. And in that moment, I said to him, we're going to record that thing. And this is the way that we make this first record, because I was just getting a shock when I got the sound of him. He has a sound that is so amazing. This is the reason that he is playing on my record. And in my record, I left them together, just him and Kurt, play a ballad called More Than You Know, just because I thought that it's, yeah, I thought that this would be so great to have him, even if I'm not playing on that ballad, just to have him on the record, you know.
Yes.
So yes, Asaf Furia, and there is another record with Asaf Furia that will be released soon with George Cable, the piano player.
Oh wow! Okay.
So it's George Cable and Asaf Furia and Omer Avital and Billy Hart and
nice.
Yeah, that will come out soon. Also, I just need to find the time to mix all those records. And mixing for me is very important. So I put a lot of time and a lot of love and energy on my mixing.
Do you do a lot of the, or do you let Andreas do some of the mixing, or do you do it with him, or do you do it separately?
I do it. I mean, I record. The recording is not necessarily with him. I record in Van Gelder. I take the master, and then I mix it with Andreas.
Okay. So this one here, I had Yotam on recently, and he talked about this album, which is fantastic as well. So, and he said he had known you for a while. So tell us about this record. This is, and there's a couple of, I want to go through them all. There's a couple I don't have. I don't have the Santi D'Abriano one.
Yeah, the double one.
Which is, yeah. But tell us about this one here and working with him.
Yotam he's already a very known guitar player before he played on my record. And he has some so special sound and clarity and knowledge, and he knows the language and the music in so deeply. And when we are talking about music, in a minute we meet each other, we realize that we like almost the same records and the same things, and we have something that's very close on the taste. And I didn't do a lot for the record of Yotam. I just let him do his thing, and it was. I really sometimes you need to say something, but sometimes you need to say nothing because it was so beautiful, like it is. And again, the dynamic between the musician every time is different, and it's same. It's Billy Hart again with them, but he sounds different than from the record of Mamiko or from the record of Asaf, or of the record of Bill O'Connor, and this magic communication, especially in trio, it's something that. I'm always excited when it's happened. And Yotam play a lot of guitars, a lot of sounds on the record. He changed guitar, and he have I don't like to say bebop, but the bebop sound, the bebop phrasing, in the most deep way, but with very modern sound of guitar. So he mixed all those colors together. This is what makes him so particular, and of course the level of the play technically, and you don't see it a lot, you know.
Right, yeah, it's a wonderful record. It really is. The next one is the first record that I discovered on your label, and that is this album here by Mamiko Watanabe. This I still listen to this. This is one of my favorite records, and I streamed this. I had not heard of your label until I saw this record. I don't remember how I came across it, perhaps on Amazon or something. And I was like, oh, what is this? Okay, let me check this out. I listened to it, and it just really hit me where I just love her playing. She was a lot of fun to talk to. She also came on the channel. And this, how did, so she said one of the unique things about this for her was this was the first record she was produced on, which you produced the record, correct?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that producing, like, okay, we're going to put on maybe two of your originals and we're going to put on some standards or whatever. Tell us about
Yeah.
like record producing and how perhaps you produced this record.
In this record, I was really produced it because before producing it, I created. I mean, I saw Pamiko playing as like assignment on the project of Santi, Orchestra Bamboo, on my label. And she was playing piano there. And I was with my brother Dan, that, by the way, made all the pictures for the record and make all the visual side of it. And I look at him and I said to him, listen, she has something very deep in her sound. We must to make something with that. And then I asked her if she will be, if she wants to make a record for my level. And ask her what drummer we prefer, with who we want to play. And she said to me, Billy Hart. She chose him. I mean, I remember I offered to maybe to contact Victor Lewis or Jeff Tenwatts, and she said, no, I want Billy Hart and Santi. And then we started to talk about the record, and I listened to her play, and I had the wish that she will play the Peacock. This ballad fits her, and I asked her, she didn't know the tune. So I told her, check out this tune, I think it can work with your way what you approach, and I think it's worked. And I asked her also to bring a song, a Japanese song, I mean, not because it's Japanese, that come from her childhood.
Right, which, yeah.
And
My
to
grandfather's
arrange
clock.
it. Exactly. And I asked that because I want to have some personal things for artists that I don't really know, or that is not so known, but he will be one day. But I think that it brings some personal touch to the record in some a different engagement when you bring your own story, your own stuff to the music. And Santi wrote few of the composition, and she wrote all the compositions except one tune that of Clifford Brown, The Scene is Clear, and another one of John Hicks. And there's few tunes that I thought that it will be maybe for another record. We choose the tunes that will give us a color. And after that, it was so easy to get it, because again, this energy between the trio matched immediately, and we just go through it. We have 2 days and make that record, and we are working on another one now.
Oh, awesome. I really like her songs too. I really like the Atomic Space. I love, I can put that on and keep listening to it over and over again. I think it's wonderful, and Being Guided by the Light is wonderful as well. But yeah, this is a great listen all the way through, and this is, going to be one of my picks for 2024. This is, it's just, these are all fantastic records, and there's always certain ones that just kind of stick to you more than maybe others, and this is just a wonderful record.
I totally can understand it and agree. I mean, I love all my records, but I was very, very proud and happy after we recorded that record. And because Mamiko, she's an amazing, powerful person, powerful musician. She looked shy, but she's very present. And in the music, she's not shy at all. She's so strong, and she's strong personality. It's this kind of magnet that gives this energy that we saw in that record. And we worked also because it's a vinyl. So the way to put to open the record, way to close the record. I put my atomic space somehow in the middle because it's not a usual tune. I mean, try to have some movement between the beginning of the record and the end of the record. I give a lot of attention of what is how you put the tunes. What is the first one, second one? I think it's important, especially on the vinyl again, because vinyl is not like when you listen in the phone one tunes from a record.
Right.
You listen to the record. So when you listen to the record, it's a journey, and I think it's important to if it's possible to think about that even before we start a record. This is what I learned on doing that. When I see when there's a recording, I try to already in the studio have an imagination of what will be the way that I will put the songs like that. It will give me a full picture. Sometimes, I mean, from few other records that I had, I never thought about it just after the mix, and it was quite hard to decide how to open, how to finish. It's better to think about that before, like that it will be more complete.
Right. So talk a little bit more about that, because right now on your label, it's either streaming or the vinyl record. And you spoke a little bit about how you like the vinyl records, but tell me how that approach is working for the label, because as far as people buying vinyl now, yeah. how is that?
Basically, if it was according to me, it was just vinyl. After that, there is the life and the way to make records today, and the musicians sells record on the concert.
Right.
And so I made CDs also for the musicians, and in Europe, I mean, in Luxembourg, in France, they still want to buy CDs, at least for jazz. So there is also CDs. And sometimes on the CDs, you have more tunes that you don't have on the vinyl because they don't have place in the vinyl. So right. You can have some other, a little bit more. And I do CDs also, but again, the motivation is the vinyl. In the vinyl, there is liner notes that it's great author T.J. English that make most of the liner notes. There is all this story and all this value of the vinyl. My motivation is the vinyl. All the rest, I do it because we must do it. But and I believe that people come back to vinyl. Young people discover vinyl, and it's for them. It's not an old thing; it's a modern thing, and it's here. And I feel that I always see how people are happy to get vinyl, to see vinyl. They don't always have at home the possibility, but the reaction for a vinyl is not the same for a CD, and for sure not for a streaming or
Right. So tell us a little bit about, because I think from what I can see, I think you changed pressing plants from the earlier records. I could be wrong, but looking at the dead wax, it looks like, did you move or change?
You are not wrong. Just my record wasn't recorded here and wasn't mixed with Andreas. And I have this everyone had the bass engineer. In my record, it was recorded in France with an engineer that we made that record. I don't think we will make another one. Maybe we make the solo, but solid. And it's the quality of the room and the studio and its table that give you this impression. But I press all the records in the same place called Vinyl de Paris. It's in France. Okay. And they make a great job for the pressing. So all the records are pressing the same things. In the beginning, I have some few movements before I find my real team staff studio that is Momiko and what you say, your time and all that. It's Andreas, me, same thing, same crew, let's say.
Well, they're great pressings. These have been, I haven't had any issues with any of the ones I've got so far. They're very quiet pressings. They sound great, and they're very analog sounding, even though they're digital recorded, right? They sound very good. This is another one. I like this album a lot, and I just had Amos also on. here recently, and he was a lot of fun to talk to, very insightful. And this is a completely different album than perhaps all the rest, really, because you've got this Middle Eastern influence on there with him playing the oud, which is fascinating. Mm-hmm. And he talked quite a bit about that in the interview. But tell us about what your idea, because he also said the same thing. The difference in making this record was you produced it. This was a produced record, where the rest of those he kind of did himself. And he said that he thought that this, came out fantastic. So tell us about producing this album.
Again, I knew Amos a long time. For years we wasn't in touch, but then I listened to some stuff that he did. And he gave me a project, and I listened to it, and I said to him, I'd like to produce the project from scratch. So let's make a record, and I want you to play trio. And trio for piano player, it's one thing. For a guitar player, it's another story. Okay, it's a little bit, it's a different, it's a little more heavy responsibility to play all the record on trio. But I knew that he can do it because he has a very particular sound and character. And I knew that he played the oud because he was playing with Avishai Cohen. He played with my brother also a lot of this kind of music. So I'm familiar with the oud and with this music. And even if it sounds different, for me, again, it's another instrument in the Middle East, but it's the same language. It's touched me in the same place. And it's worked also with Lenny White, that is the drummer on it. Yeah. This amazing drummer.
And Santi's on here.
And Santi is here. And immediately they got the sound. I mean, they didn't feel that it's something that they need to learn it to get used to it. It worked immediately because it's a very communicative instrument, and Amos is a very communicative person and can create, again, this beautiful intimacy between the musician right away. And we recorded in Van Gelder, that is one of the amazing studio ever. And it's wrong. It's really sound on sound. But it's Van Gelder.
Oh, that's okay. The one that was misled. Okay.
Yeah. And Amos have this knowledge to bring the people to get to understand him immediately in the music. He gives them something, and they give him something back immediately, and this is what makes him so special. And again, I can say it was with Miamico like that, but with this one record, it was even more. I knew how it's going to sound before we recorded. And this is exactly what happened, because I just imagine it like that, and I just record what I already have in mind, and they just made it like I imagined it.
Yeah, it's a wonderful album. It's a real musical adventure because it has you have some of that straight ahead jazz feel on there, and then you kind of go into some Middle Eastern type mixed with kind of a straight. It's a very interesting record, and it's a lot of fun to listen to.
And for me, I mean, the fact that this what you call straight ahead and Middle East, it's Amos, it's his inside world, and this world, you have all those colors inside. You have deeply the straight ahead and deeply the oud, and this is kind of a journey of a musician that saw a lot of things, play in a lot of places and situations, travel in the world, and all that, you have it and bring it to this music and to the studio. So for me, I don't have a shift between the straight ahead tunes to the oud. For me, in that record, it's just part of the same
flows.
thing. Yeah. And this flow it's what happened when somebody bring his own story, his own things. This is when I asked Mamiko to bring that song from the child, and when she played it first time, we listen and it's open something. I mean, we feel immediately close to each other in the studio.
Okay, so you were talking about being a producer in the studio. So you do show up and go into the studio with the musicians when you're producing these records, correct?
Yes, of course. For me, it's very important to be in the studio because everything happened in the studio. Like I already said, the studio is a moment that you catch the special moment that you create and you record it. And it's very important to be there. It's when you are when you are there. It's not mean that you say something every moment. Sometimes there is nothing to do, but sometimes you should be there for just keep the frame like you have it in mind. And it's important to have something in mind and try to have it to explain it to the musician and have this conversation and it creates some communication. Again, it's all about communication between the people, and then you got the result.
And what things are you listening for when you're in the studio? Are you listening to anything in particular? This particular instruments?
First, I listen to all the song. I mean, musicians when they are in the studio, they listen naturally to how was their solo. But like a producer, it's how was all the song, not if just this one play good and that one play less good. The song has the solos, but it have his own existing, and I look this big picture of how the song is.
And then you have to keep an eye on you have to keep an eye on how long the songs are and make sure they all fit on the record.
This is a very, very good question for jazz. I mean, sometimes you need to have songs for 4 minutes, for the half, for the radio. It's perfect and all that. And if you are too strict with that, you will have everything, but you will feel nothing. Musicians need sometimes more time to get up, to build the solo, to build the vibe, to build the communication, and sometimes for 4 minutes and a half, it's not enough for that. And for the other side, you cannot make 25 minutes because it's a record. So, yeah, you should be careful to give them enough space to create the glue, create the magic, and not to be too long for a record. And again, vinyl, if you imagine vinyl, it's even shorter. You have 25, 23 minutes in each side. But like I said before, you don't know if I said, if we have too many songs, this is the only good things with streaming and CDs, that you don't have the limit of time, so you can find them on that part.
Right. But there's an art to making it an album. There's an art to making it listenable through side A to side B, and then the order of the tracks and how that's all put together.
The order of the tracks is very important. It's very important because an album, it's a journey. And when you put the album, you have twice. I mean, you can put it side B or side 1, but if you put it on side A to side B, I mean, for me, it's very important to have a flow between the tunes. Like with Mamiko, I put the atomic space somewhere in the middle. You should have some few tunes that will bring you there. And after that, you should go out from that environment to another thing. And if from experience, I mean, I learned that it's better to have that in mind in the recording and not just discover it in the mix and try to put together some tunes, because it's much more difficult. And yes, I give a lot of attention to the orders and the way I put the song on the record.
So tell us about the future vision for the label. Now, I know you have to compete with a lot of other labels out there, but you kind of have your own kind of your own sound and what perspective are you taking? It looks like you kind of have a stable of musicians, if you will, that you can kind of put on different people's albums, kind of like Blue Note did. Tell us a little bit about that, and then what your vision is for the label in the future.
I mean, for me, the idea with the label is to get some great catalog, some important musicians of today together, and with the time to create some big and nice catalog that have a value by himself. And it takes time to create that. And yes, it's a sound. I try to keep a sound on the label, and I have musicians that play on different, especially the rhythm changes like Billy Hart and Santi. I mean, I'm so happy to have Billy Hart and Santi on every project. And if we compare the project of Mamiko, that is they play drums and she's a pianist, and with Bill O'Connor that will get out, he's so different pianist, so they sound so different, and everything sounds so different, even if it's just one person that changed. But all the energy, all the communication, all the language is not the same. So you are the same musician, it's the same vibe, but it's totally a different record. And I think this is one of the magic to work with the same people, with the same family that you try to create, and bring other musicians inside. Bring young musicians, meet them with older musicians, and bring musicians that are not the most famous, but they need to be
right
more famous. This is very important for me, and I know a lot of them. And at least I create a record that I can hear them as I want to hear them, as I imagine it. And this is a gift that I give to myself, and I share with others.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I'm so glad you're doing it. Tell us about the up and coming projects here for the end of the year and beginning of next year. How many more records do you have coming out here?
Oh, there's a few records on the pipeline. I mean, I will mix soon George Garzon project, Asa Furia with George Cable, a singer that called Nina, that will have a single, Yotam, second level 2 of standards, coming in March. Itai Chris is a great flute player that is on the salsa scene and the jazz. And this is, by the way I meet Yotam first time on his recording like a guest. Other project of Kirk Lightsey, that is 88, with a part of the record, things that we record in Paris and in New York, and we name Paris, New York, this record. I hope that I can put this one together as soon as possible. I mean, there's a lot of projects. There's a record of Billy Hart that we will record on his name this time, because he's on a lot of records. So I'm so happy to have him a record on his name on my label. It's a great honor for me. So try to make this one also happen. There's a few things that will come.
So you got a lot of stuff in the pipeline. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to reviewing all these records and sharing it with people. A question I have to ask you before you go, because I have to ask everybody who's on the channel, is do you collect vinyl records? And tell us a little bit about that.
I mean, first I have a great collection already, but I try to find special shops for records. So when I'm in Paris, there is a great shop in Rue Monge, and they have so many. For me, I mean, it's not new records; it's old records that I don't know how they find them, but I go there quite often, and there's always something new that they bring from salsa, from jazz, from old Jerry Mulligan stuff, Jay Gonzalez things that I never heard, that are in records, vinyl. I mean, I'm talking about vinyl. Yes, I mean, so this is a place that I always try to go there. And in Luxembourg, there's a shop in Geneva, in There's a small shop also in Lisbon that they have some. It's small, but they always have something. You know, it's like a small restaurant that they always have some good things. So you will always find something to take with you. And yes, I think vinyl for me it's part of the music. For me,
Right.
I cannot dissociate the music and the vinyl. And this is the
It's
reason I'm so happy to produce vinyl.
yeah, which I'm so glad you're doing. Is that did you get inspired by picking up other old records, listening to them, and you get ideas or
Uh,
different?
I mean, and and I mean, to be more precise, it was a record of Dizzy Gillespie on Prestige that you see his face, you see the guy. That's, and I said, I want the musician, I want to see, at least for the first record, if we do other after the, I want to see the musician, the portrait of the musician on the record. And
Yeah,
it's coming from the precision. This is, you can find it all the records.
yeah, which I love these covers.
And it's my brother Dan that take the picture and make the design. And we give a lot of attention about the picture and the quality. I had the recording. I mean, I have something like 200 records that they send to me, and I send it back because the quality wasn't there. Uh,
And I
the
like the
liner note.
insert, the liner notes. I'll definitely like having that with the picture is pretty cool. Yeah, so
Yeah,
these are fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the channel, and I hope to have you on again. And hopefully, we'll be as I do the reviews, we'll have all the musicians come on and talk to them about the records. It's fascinating. I love talking to everybody. Everybody's been a lot of fun to talk
yeah.
with. Mamika was very fun. You know, talking to her, I'm like, how do you do all this? How do you? And she's just, I don't know. I just play. We just go.
That's it. Yeah, yeah.
She's, I don't know
Just
how to
play like
explain it. I
that.
just play.
Yeah, yeah. It's so beautiful. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for
Yeah.
coming on,
Thank
Simon.
you
It
for
was
having me.
wonderful.
It's really honor for me and a pleasure to share with somebody that listens so deeply and understand the music and the vinyl. It's a great discovery for me, and I'm very glad to be here. Very
Well, thank
happy.
you so much. I look forward to many more records. So,
Yes, I will produce and provide some other records. Definitely.
all right.
Beautiful.
All right.
Thank